Every dollar says Federal Reserve note, a note, not money, yet every country on Earth wants them. Here's the quiet arrangement that makes that work. Look at the bill in your wallet right now. Top of the front, it doesn't say money. It doesn't say gold. It says Federal Reserve note. A note. In plain English, that's an IOU, a promise. But here's the strange part. A promise to pay you back. With what? Walk into a bank and ask to trade your
Gold,
$100
please?
bill for the gold it represents, and
Certainly.
they'll look at you like you're crazy. There is no gold. There hasn't been for over 50 years. The dollar is backed by nothing you can hold in your hand. So by the old definition, something with real physical value behind it, the dollar is basically worthless. It's paper and ink. The cotton it's printed on is worth more than the number stamped on it. And yet, every government on the planet is scrambling to get more of them. Wars are fought near it. Entire economies rise and collapse on it. So what's going on? Why does the whole world want a piece of paper that admits right on its face that it's just a note? The answer isn't in the paper. It's in an arrangement most people have never heard of. Let's start with a simple truth that sounds almost too obvious. Money is only worth something because we all agree it is. That's it. That's the whole trick. A $20 bill has value because the guy at the gas station believes the next guy will also accept it. Trust is the only thing holding it up. The moment people stop believing, the paper goes back to being paper. We've seen it happen. Zimbabwe, Venezuela, Germany in the 1920s. When the trust dies, the money dies with it. So the real question isn't why is the dollar worth anything? It's why does the entire world trust this particular piece of paper more than any other? For a long time, the answer was gold. Rewind to 1944. World War II is ending, and the world's leaders sit down and basically redesign the global money system from scratch. The deal they make is this. The US dollar will be tied to gold. $35 gets you 1 ounce, guaranteed. And every other country's money will be tied to the dollar. It was clever. The dollar became the middleman for the whole planet. You didn't need to trust every country's currency. You just had to trust the dollar, and the dollar was as good as gold, literally. For a while, it worked beautifully. The dollar became the king of all money because there was a vault full of gold standing behind it. Then America broke the deal. By 1971, the United States had a problem. It had printed way more dollars than it had gold to cover. It was spending heavily, wars, programs, you name it, and other countries started getting nervous. France famously sent ships to literally collect its gold, trading in dollars and demanding the real thing. If everyone did that, the vault would empty out fast. America didn't have nearly enough gold to honor all the dollars floating around the world. So in 1971, President Nixon went on television and quietly ended it. He cut the link between the dollar and gold, just like that. From that day forward, your dollar was no longer a claim on anything. It became pure fiat, a fancy word that just means it's money because the government says so. This should have been a disaster. Overnight, the dollar lost the one thing that made it special. There was no gold behind it anymore. So why would any country keep holding dollars instead of dumping them? That's where the quiet arrangement comes in. Within a few years, the US made a move that was frankly brilliant. It went to Saudi Arabia, the biggest oil producer in the world, and made a handshake deal. The terms were simple. Saudi Arabia would sell its oil in one currency only, US dollars, not gold, not their own money, dollars. In return, America offered protection, weapons, and security for the Saudi kingdom. The other oil-producing nations followed, and soon the rule was global. If you wanted to buy oil, you needed dollars. Stop and think about what that did. Oil is the one thing every single country on Earth needs. You can't run a factory without it. You can't fly planes, move trucks, heat homes, or fight a war without it. Every nation, rich or poor, has to buy oil. And now, to buy oil, they all needed dollars first. That's the magic. America replaced gold with something even more powerful. Oil. The dollar wasn't backed by metal anymore. It was backed by need, by the fact that the whole world runs on energy, and energy was priced in dollars. This is what people call the Petrodollar system, and it's the quiet arrangement that turned a piece of paper with no gold behind it into the most wanted currency in human history. Here's how the cycle actually spins. A country like Japan or India needs oil. To buy it, they need dollars, so they make sure they're always earning dollars by selling goods to the world, by holding dollars in their reserves, by keeping a giant stack of them on hand at all times. Now multiply that by nearly every country on the planet. Suddenly there's a permanent, built-in demand for dollars everywhere, all the time. Not because people love America, because they need to fill their cars and run their economies. And it doesn't stop there. Once countries are holding piles of dollars anyway, it just makes sense to use them for everything else, too. Trade between two countries that aren't even American often happens in dollars. Loans are written in dollars. Savings are kept in dollars. The dollar became the common language of money, the one everyone speaks. That's a network effect. The more people use it, the more useful it becomes, and the more useful it becomes, the more people use it. It feeds itself. But there's a second half to this arrangement, and it's the part that really seals the deal. When countries earn all these dollars, they don't just stuff them under a mattress. Dollars sitting in a pile earn nothing, so they take those dollars and lend them right back to the United States by buying U.S. government debt, things called Treasury bonds. Think about how good that is for America. The world sells America real goods, cars, electronics, clothing, oil, and takes paper dollars in return. Then it hands those same dollars back to America in exchange for an IOU that promises a little interest later. America gets to print the paper, buy real things with it, and then borrow the paper back. It's a position no other country on earth has. Economists have a nickname for it. They call it America's Exorbitant Privilege. The privilege of being the one whose IOUs the whole world is happy to hold. So the dollar isn't backed by gold. It's backed by oil, by trade, by debt, and by the simple fact that everyone is already using it and no one wants to be the first to stop. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what actually stops a country from just walking away? What keeps this whole thing from falling apart? A few things. First, there's no good replacement. People talk about other currencies stepping up, but most of them aren't trusted enough, aren't used widely enough, or are controlled by governments the rest of the world doesn't fully trust. The dollar isn't perfect, it's just the least risky option in a world with no perfect options. Second, the system is so big that leaving it is painful. If a country tried to dump all its dollars at once, it would crash the value of the dollars it still holds and wreck its own savings in the process. You can't quietly exit something this large. And third, quietly in the background, there's American power. Military reach, control over the global banking pipes that money flows through, the ability to cut a country off from the dollar system entirely as a punishment. That's a strong reason to stay inside the tent rather than outside it. So the arrangement holds, not because the dollar is special on paper, but because the cost of abandoning it is higher than the cost of keeping it. Now, is this forever? No, nothing. You've probably heard the term de-dollarization. Some countries are testing ways to trade oil and goods without the dollar. They're buying gold again. They're building their own payment systems. Cracks are appearing and they're real. But cracks are not a collapse. The dollar's grip is loosening slowly, not snapping. Turning a global system this enormous is like turning a giant ship. It happens over decades, not overnight. For now, when there's a crisis anywhere in the world, money still runs toward the dollar, not away from it. That tells you everything. So let's bring it home. The dollar tells you the truth right on its face. It's a note, a promise. There's no gold in a vault waiting for you. By the old rules, it really is just paper. But money was never really about gold. It was always about trust and need. And the dollar quietly arranged to become the one currency the whole world needs. To buy oil, to trade, to save, to survive. That's the arrangement. Replace gold with the thing every nation can't live without, and your paper becomes priceless. So is the dollar worthless. Only if you're holding it alone on a desert island. In the real world, the world that runs on oil, trade, and trust, it's the most valuable piece of paper ever printed. Not because of what's behind it, because of who's standing in line for it.